Welcome to the Postpartum Coach podcast, where we embrace our needs as moms. We learn to lead ourselves first, then our families, and where we create our own healing from the inside out to find our way to the work we were meant to do in this world. I'm your host, a fellow mom of 3 and a certified life coach, Lizzie Langston. Hey everybody, I'm back with another culture episode. This ended up being like a 3-part series. I want to talk to you today about anxiety culture. I'm so freaking pumped. Are you guys loving these vibes? I'm like loving these vibes. I kind of love this new place that I am in. Thanks to the move to Costa Rica and being moved out of our house and having all of our stuff not where it normally is, and my husband's business going through bankruptcy, maybe, possibly. There's just some stuff going on that's like not perfect right now, and I freaking am loving it. I adore it. I'm so grateful to the universe for giving us not perfection, for throwing us some curveballs, because what it's doing is it's opening my crown chakra, literally. Like I'm like, okay, I am listening. How do I do this? Like, teach me thy ways. Teach me how to go through this with peace and with abundance, with love. And you know what? Literally, like, we might have some really tricky stuff coming up in our family and financially and whatever. And like, I'm as calm as a summer's day. It feels amazing. So I just want to spend a minute on that, because I know in the middle of like the hardest thing you've ever gone through, maybe postpartum is like your cross. It's like your crux. It's like the hardest thing you've ever gone through right now, and you're trying to navigate it. I just want to give you that perspective is possible even amidst the hard. That perspective is possible, and you don't have to run from this, and you don't have to be freaking out about it. You don't have to be beaten by this. You can be your highest, best self amidst this. Don't use that against yourself and judge yourself, but literally, you can do this. You can do any of this if you want to. And where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm so glad that this podcast can be here to support you. And my anxiety course and the membership, whatever I can give to you, I'm here to give it to you. Okay, so today I want to address another tricky little finicky thing, which is anxiety culture. Anxiety, I've only been a mom for about 7.5 years, which to me is like a long time, and it's amazing, and it's been amazing. I'm so proud of it. And then for some women, they've been moms for 50, 60, whatever years. And so, but I do remember that when I was postpartum with my first, that not even just around postpartum, like anxiety wasn't talked about as much as it is. Now, part of that could be that I wasn't on the interwebs, like I wasn't in this space, right? I wasn't a mental health professional. I wasn't, using the hashtags and studying and looking at people's language and the way that they talk about anxiety and depression online and in the world. But also, I genuinely I think you might agree here, like about 10 years ago, like anxiety has become more of a buzzword. And frankly, I think that we have been more anxious collectively. And therefore, it's more talked about, and more people are looking for more tools and more answers on anxiety, which is so great, right? That's so great that we're all like figuring this out together through the pandemic and through shootings and through, just so much loss. And then the typical stuff, not just pandemic stuff, but the regular typical cancer diagnoses and losing children, and, it's in the air. As my massage therapist says it best, it is freaking in the air. She doesn't say freaking, that's how I say it. But she goes, honey, it's in the air. So don't be surprised if you have trauma just from being alive and being a human and watching the news. Oh my effing, watching the news. Yes, trauma with a capital T. Like that is insane. So anyways, what's beautiful is that I feel like heaven has met us where we are. And heaven, through my course, is one of the many ways that heaven is delivering healing all across the world to many people in many mediums: therapy, energy work, sound, doming, whatever. meditation. My friend Corey does like these, I don't even know what they're called. Like it's like a chamber of water and you go in there and it's dark and you just lay in the water. Probably freaking some of you out that are claustrophobic and maybe afraid of water, but it's like super healing for her. And it's like closes everything out. There's those weighted blankets. There's so many beautiful things that heaven has, these gems, just like the earth has, caves with full of diamonds or gold. There are energetically and emotionally, there are, same thing with our healing. Heaven and the earth, but also just heaven energetically is delivering so many healing methods. And I'm just so proud and grateful to be able to be a healer in today's age. Now, what I was getting to with that is anxiety. People are getting help, but with that comes a lot of people who don't understand anxiety, right? They're trying to navigate their own and they don't fully understand it. Do any of us really? I mean, I can't say I fully understand it, and I've been studying it for like 4 years straight now. So what happens is there's mistruths, right? Think about religion, okay? We're going to pretend here. Let's pretend that there is one true church, okay? There's one out there. Let's just pretend there is one. And, or let's say there was one, right? Let's say if for Christians, right? Christ, I want to respect, because I know there's people that listen to this that are not Christian, but go with me here. This is the analogy that's coming to mind. So Christ created a church. It had all of the properties of his church, like priesthood and, laying on the hands and the sacrament and whatever else he did. And then he was off the earth. His apostles were off the earth, and it like broke into a million pieces. And now we have a bajillion churches everywhere. And so that's tricky, right? Because like one church is saying the Bible means this, and another church is saying the Bible means this, and another church has a totally different book altogether in addition to the Bible, and another church doesn't use the Bible and they only use this thing. It's like, So when there's somebody trying to find like, hey, what's truth? That's a complicated question. Many people are saying, hey, this is truth, right? It's a very scary thing to embark on for many people. So many people just don't. They're like, honestly, I'm just going to skip the whole religion thing, which is totally cool. And sometimes I'm kind of jealous of them. I'm like, yeah, it's hard over here to like chase God and just to find heaven amidst all of the mistruth and Satan and crap and pain that people go through. Like it's hard. Faith is hard. And anxiety, you could say the same thing. When you go on a journey to heal from anxiety, sorry guys, I have cruddies in my throat today. It's hard. It is hard. And there's a lot of mistruth out there. And frankly, there's a lot of tools that don't work. Just like you go to a church that is like, you could just feel that nothing ain't going through that ceiling. It's a sham, right? Like with total respect for the people. You can feel that with anxiety, and it's super upsetting to me is what I was going to say. It's upsetting to me because I actually have tools that actually work for women. And there have been like maybe 2 women that have come through my practice that I sent them to someone else. I was like, you know what? You could use like an OCD specific coach, or you could use more of a therapist because you are borderline suicidal sometimes. And while I probably could handle that, I don't want that for you. I want you to have the medical support behind sessions if you are literally like going in and out of, ideation. That's not my expertise, and that's not the safest. Coaching isn't the safest for that, right? So I want you to know that there's a whole spectrum of tools. There's like a buffet out there for anxiety, and you want to make sure that you're eating just like you want to eat the right foods for your body, you want to have the right anxiety tools for your anxiety. Okay. Anxiety is not cut and dry. It's not like the same for everybody. Some people experience it more as like a mental battle. Other people, it's definitely more of like a body experience where it's a panic attack. And some people, it bounces back and forth, head, scary thoughts, then your body, and then more thoughts, and then more body. I would say that's for how it is for most people. But it's different for everyone. So you want to have tools that match your anxiety. But maybe I could do a different podcast episode just on that, and I could go more into my tools. Just real briefly, I'll just tell you, in my course, the postpartum anxiety course, I have Calm Your Body. And so I've basically designed the course to be a fit for anybody along the anxiety spectrum, as long as you're not suicidal, like I would say, I mean, you can do the course if you're suicidal, but I would still recommend having a therapist. Unless you deep down believe that that anything you've mentioned or thought about with suicide has just been out of desperation, and out of like trying to get people's attention. But even then you still want to like manage that with like a medical backing. But anyway, so the postpartum anxiety course, okay, is set up to manage both the more head-centered anxiety, the more crazy sensations in your body. Maybe you're having a tingly arm, or maybe you're having panic attacks and you just can't even breathe. And then all the way into the middle of like both the scary thoughts and the crazy sensations in your body. So, again, the first piece of the course is Intro to Healing, where I'm going to get your brain kind of, and your body geared up for healing. And, we're raising your vibration a lot there too. And make sure you guys see the worksheets. The worksheets in the course are super important. So don't skip those. Okay. They're amazing. My assistant and I have just made those so great. Then we have, Calm Your Body, and then Calm Your Mind and Calm Your Life. And in Calm Your Body, you're literally learning how to calm your body so that then you can go up into your mind and calm your mind. And once your body and mind are calm, your anxiety is conquered. It's amazing. All right. So going back to anxiety culture, because people don't understand it, there's a lot of people that are trying to help and they don't really understand it. There's all sorts of stuff out there. There's like really shallow little tips and tricks. And then there's like the deep stuff that actually gets to the root of it. And I don't think any of it's better than any other of it. Again, if you think about, I don't know if you listened to the depression culture episode on this podcast, but if you think about that triangle that I painted the picture of, right? Imagine there's the ground that makes up like the bottom of the triangle. And then there's a triangle that's kind of like the point of a mountain. This work, you're really just trying to raise your vibration. Okay. And that's like the total ultimate goal. That's actually how you heal. But what I want to say about this work is that there are people who you might just want like little tips and tricks, but at some point, as you go deeper into your healing and as the tips and tricks don't work, right? Like, when I called the emergency line at the hospital, when I was having my first panic attack postpartum for the first time ever. And so I called like the hotline that they give you in your release papers when they release you from the hospital. This was after my second baby. And he was like, put some lemon juice on your tongue, stuff like that is what I'm talking about. Those are the shallow tips and tricks. They might snap you out of it for a moment, but they're nowhere near getting you to the root of why your anxiety is there in the first place. So in my course, I have kind of a unit and a worksheet, and I teach you about how anxiety is like a flag on top of a mountain of emotion. Okay. Anxiety is just the flag to get your attention. It's just the flag your subconscious throws to get your attention. So as it waves brutally in the wind and it's painful and it's whipping and it's lashing everywhere, you have a desire to take it down, right? You're having these panic attacks. You're having these scary thoughts. That is your calling to deeper healing, to get to the root of why the anxiety is there. So in my course, I take you, and again, this is how we do get to the root, is you've got to, number one, be able to manage the symptoms of anxiety. So the equivalent of the lemon juice on your tongue, right? You've got to be able to calm down. There's no point in getting to the root of your anxiety if you're just a blithering mess of panic. So, and that goes with depression too. If you're so non-functional, there's no point in trying to teach you tools with suppressiveness until we get you reconnected and restored to yourself, and then that. So the course does that. For depression and anxiety, we get you reconnected, we get you calmed down first. Whereas therapy oftentimes will want to go deep right off the bat, because therapists know that there is a root to a lot of the suffering in childhood and in trauma. I love that. We share that in common. But the one thing that kind of makes my approach, my different position on that is, especially for a postpartum woman, you've got to get calm first and get comfortable with knowing how to calm yourself regularly. And once you bring your overall baseline down, that's when we can address the deeper symptoms. That's why I don't talk about the trauma work and the past self-healing and the root of anxiety and depression until the last piece of my course. And then you come into the membership to continue that work. And in the membership and the private podcast, right? The Healing in Home private podcast, that's where I teach you more about energy work and the real foundations of that rooting out of all of that stored emotion from the past. Doesn't this feel so good? It's just so logical. But I think so many people don't understand this. So going back to the anxiety culture, there is this identity piece of like, I have anxiety. My daughter has anxiety. And we want to be careful with that language, because remember, that would be like owning a piece of land that has a flag on it and saying, my land has a flag on it. And it just does. It's a flaggy kind of a land. And then you build a house, but you're like, oh, but be careful. You can't build around that flag because it's just in the land. No, you'd be like, it's my land. There's a flag there. Do I want to keep the flag, or would I like to remove the flag? Well, let me think. What kind of a house do I want? How much space do I want that house to take? Does this land have enough space for that much house? Okay, it does, but I'd have to take out the flag. All right, let's remove the flag. But you know what? We'll put this flag in a beautiful frame inside the house because it was here when we got here, right? How beautiful. I want your anxiety to be something that you literally can frame later in years and say, that was hard. Wow. McKenna Woolley is an artist and also a postpartum depression and anxiety victor. And she is a modern artist, and she did a giveaway one time, and she like gave me the opportunity. I won the giveaway, right? And so she's like, "Hey, what do you want me to make you?" And I said, "Well, you make me a painting with these colors, and I want it to represent my anxiety and depression that I went through before I found these healing gifts and tools and abilities." And so I actually do have a frame on my wall that when I look at it, I remember. It's actually not on my wall because everything's in boxes right now because we're moving to Costa Rica in like a few weeks. But anyway, but I do have it framed, and I can look back on it. And so that's why we don't use the language of I have anxiety, right? Like I have it. I just have it. It's just there. It's in me. I don't. Listen to how when we say I have anxiety, that fundamentally brings in the assumption. There is an assumption with that language, right? In the anxiety culture, that we cannot not have it, and that it's out of our hands, that it's just there. What I'm not saying, if you use that language, what I'm not saying to you is that you haven't tried to get help and that you're not trying. I'm not saying that. But let's all be aware that that's a piece of this culture, just like there's like so many cultures religiously. There's so many Christian cultures. There's so many anxiety cultures, and we want to get back to the pure truth that you are not your anxiety. All right. That's what I want to leave you with today. If you're ready to be in that place, you're not your anxiety. Healing is possible. This is like a clarion call. Healing is possible. And I believe, as a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as a fellow Christian with many other Christians and many other cultures of Christianity, I want to put forth that we all have this one thing in common. We believe that Jesus Christ can help us heal. And I do believe that it is through the tools that heaven has been giving me and others. I'm not laying claim to being the only person. And I'm not saying God won't give you your own healing tools in addition to, or separately from my course. So I'm not here to say I'm better than anybody else, but I just want to recognize that I have received so much knowledge and understanding of these things from God. And I want to share those with you. So you can go to LizzieLangston.com/course to look at the postpartum anxiety course and learn more about what's in it and start your journey to healing today. So no more I have anxiety, but rather I experience anxiety sometimes, and I'm learning how to experience something different. I'll talk to you soon.
Hey, Lizzie here. If you love what's on the podcast, you're going to love my postpartum anxiety online course. The course is designed to help you manage your anxiety, reconnect with yourself to avoid deeper depressiveness, and then address any broader traumas from childhood and beyond. To purchase the course, go to LizzieLangston.com/course. That's Lizzie, Lizzie, Langston, LANGSTON.com/course. I cannot wait to see and hear how you transform in the online course. I'll see you inside.